Hey families, my name is Chase Durham. I'm the student pastor here at Cottonwood Creek Church, and I hope that you are enjoying these videos. The main goal I have for these is just to make you the best parent that you can possibly be. And here's a little disclaimer. I'm a parent and I don't excel at all of these things that I'm even sharing with you guys. Being a parent is one of the hardest things that I've ever done, and I'm sure you would say the same. But I just want to remind you that there's so much grace from the Lord, but we just need to keep looking at God. We need to keep on keeping on towards God so that we can be the best parents that we can possibly be. And so today I want to share something that's kind of been on my personal heart and conviction with my children, is this idea of indirect leadership. So we often talk about leadership, and we all have different understandings and idea of what leadership is. And leadership would be more direct. It would be more me saying, do this, don't do this. It would be more of me saying, guiding people throughout a process. Indirect leadership is exactly what the name says. It is indirect. So here's what I mean. You are teaching your kids something even when you don't open your mouth. You are teaching your kids how to pursue the Lord without even opening your mouth, because they're watching you pursue the Lord or not pursue the Lord. And so this idea of indirect leadership is how your actions are teaching your kids. Here's where I was convicted. I have 3 young children, and I've noticed that our kids constantly want our phones. They're always trying to get our phones and stuff like that, and we don't let them have our phones. They're way too young. But I began thinking about it. It's because my kids see me and my wife on our phones. When we sit down and they're watching some children's TV show that we don't want to watch, we pull out our phones and we look at whatever is on our phones. And that is indirectly teaching them that there is something valuable in our phones. And so when I had this realization, it made me start thinking, man, what are my actions teaching my kids? And so think of it just from a practical perspective. The way that you eat, like your diet, what are you teaching your kids about the foods you should eat? The way that you work out, what are you teaching about your kids, the way that you take care of your body, the way that you interact with your spouse? What are you teaching your kids about the way you interact with your spouse? The list goes on and on. But this idea of indirect leadership is honestly kind of terrifying as a parent, but man, it's going to hold us to a higher level of accountability. And so I realize sometimes we always want to do our quiet time when it's quiet. So maybe we have our time with the Lord before kids wake up, or we have our time with the Lord after they're asleep, or maybe when they're at school or at work. But I want to remind you, or I want to ask you the question, do your kids ever see you studying the scriptures? Do your kids ever see you in prayer? Do your kids ever see you talking to your spouse about the things of the Lord? Because this idea of indirect leadership can help cultivate and foster a lasting faith in our children's hearts. And so that's the big thing I wanted to bring to your attention, is what are your actions teaching your kids? It's a tough question to answer, but I encourage you that if your actions have been teaching your kids not the best thing, I want to encourage you that there is grace, and that you can start today by encouraging your children to the Lord through your actions and through your habits.